Or we might not like the current situation one bit, but it is our reality. And when we start to have that inner battle with ourselves, when we're refusing to accept things the way they are, when we're striving to change things that we cannot change, we create fear and anxiety within ourselves. And healing ourselves comes from acceptance. Accepting things the way they are, not the way we want them to be, but the way they are right now. And that's really easy for me to say, but it's really difficult to do. Because looking difficult situations like this in the eye is really hard, because it makes us feel helpless. It makes us feel vulnerable. It makes us frightened. If you're feeling fearful of the current situation, you're not alone. Fear is a primal instinct to threatening circumstances, and it's essential for our survival. It heightens our senses and it helps us to protect ourselves. But when fear takes over in our mind, it leads to anxiety. If we can allow this intense energy to exist and then to dissipate, it can actually become a powerful driving force in our lives. But how do we allow it to exist? We need to explore it. We need to be curious about our fear. Because when we try and hide from it, when we try and hide from our anxieties, we give our anxiety more power. Each time you feel anxiety rising within you, stop, look at it, explore the feelings that you're experiencing and the thoughts behind those feelings. Because it could be that when you look closely at your anxiety, it could be like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, a tiny little wizard behind a great big curtain. It's all a show. The wizard is a con. Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow and the Lion are all searching for answers in The Wizard of Oz. They're suffering from a belief system that they're lacking something. When it turns out that they've all got courage and bravery, they all have intelligence, they have compassion and love. And actually Dorothy had the ability, didn't she, to return home all along. In mindfulness, your breath is your home, because you can return to it anytime you want just by focusing on it. And you can turn that big emotion into a much, much smaller problem. You see, our mind can trick us like the wizard with perception rather than allow us to see the reality. Acceptance, though, in the context of mindfulness is not being passive. So it's not giving up, nor is it resignation or being spineless. Acceptance in mindfulness allows the mind to accept the truth and gain a deeper understanding of how things really are. Mindfulness gives us choices about how we respond. Now we're going to try something. I want us all to take some big, purposeful breaths. Everybody just take a big breath in and out. And another one. Keep going for a couple of breaths. I want you to really notice the air coming in, the lungs inflating, feel the diaphragm working, hear the sound of the air coming in. And then notice the lungs as they deflate as you breathe out. Notice what happens to your body as you take these deep breaths. Okay, now relax. Let your breathing return to normal. So, who went up and down as they took deep breaths? Who went up and down? Well, this is a sign that you're chest breathing rather than belly breathing. And chest breathing is a typical stress response, which I'm going to come back to in a second. So, but what I want to do now is just try that again. But this time, I want you to put your hands on your belly. And this time, when you take your deep breaths, I want you to push your hands out as you breathe in. Don't go up and down this time. Go in and out. Go ahead. 3 deep breaths. And allow your breath to return to normal when you've done that. There's no place like home. So this is your first tip for anxiety. When we chest breathe, we ignite the sympathetic nervous system. And that sends a message to our brain saying, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I feel panicked. And the brain then prepares you for fight or flight, and it raises your blood pressure, your heart starts to race, your executive brain shuts down. For those who were on last week, you'll remember us talking about the brain and the different areas and the executive brain. When you switch to belly breathing, now we engage the parasympathetic nervous system, which sends a message to the brain that says, I'm okay, I'm calm. And the heart rate starts to slow. The executive brain can kick back in, and our anxiety can begin to decrease. Use this exercise over the next week and see if it helps you feel calmer, if you find yourself in a situation where you're starting to feel very anxious.